Okay, but you know it's crazy. It says, "And seek out the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away captives."
You see what I'm saying? So looking to be in honor where we're at. Take back where we're at and you deal in honor with these things. You see what I'm saying? Once you can deal in honor where you're at, you see what I'm saying? You're gonna be okay in your capacity because you're doing what the creator told you to do. You do what the creator told you to do, and
with yourself.
with
yourself.
I'm saying like what you mean.
With
You say
yourself, therefore your nation.
I'm
see
saying
what
with
I'm saying?
your like with the with what he's told you to do with the path of your life. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
because look at what that says. Read what you just said. Because he brought up
It's Jeremiah. actually.
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah 29:5. Build ye houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens and eat the fruit of them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go back up though, because you
Yeah.
said in this captivity it is long, right?
No, that's at the end. That's at
Okay.
29. That's
Okay.
at Jeremiah 29 and 25.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Where is it? Okay, yeah, 29 and 28. For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying, This captivity is long. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Period.
And then,
That was after all the that was okay. So Jeremiah 29:5. Build ye houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Semicolon. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. And seek the peace of the city, whither I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto the Most High for it. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace.
now, does this not also fit with what Paul said? He said, "What? Wherever you at, serve the king where you at."
Speaking of Paul, okay. Each of the disciples were like what you would probably call salesmen. They were fishermen. They had to dispose of that fish.
Peter was a tax man.
Yeah, Zacharias.
One was a tent builder. He built tents and probably sold them.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? I think that was Paul.
What did Paul do?
Paul was a man of law.
I know he was a man of law,
he
but
was an
I
officer,
think he was either a doctor. He was either
Yeah,
a physician.
he was a physician.
He was a
Like-
physician. Okay, that's also a
Yeah.
huge,
Yeah.
you know.
I
But
see what
that's
you
why he was called
a
doctor.
tradesman. Yeah. We tradesmen. Or
You see what I'm
these are honorable trades.
Trades.
and that goes
Trading.
back to talents.
Well, talents also, yes, but that's a huge point, because if we're given talents, we don't bury them. We have to use our brain, like you were saying earlier, to create, sustain, and thrive.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So the thing I was going to say earlier was that when we're presented with opportunity, we are presented with information and knowledge before we are presented with opportunity. Because, well, I don't think there's an order to it. When you're presented with opportunity, usually some kind of information comes with it. So whether it precedes it or comes after it,
It might even come with it.
it might even come with it in a whole package. You know, it's like now it requires action. So when we arrive at that threshold where we can't go back, we can't look for a crutch, we can't we can't hesitate. We got to move forward.
Right.
There has to be an evolutionary mindset. There has to be a form of thinking where, like, we don't forget the Most High and the laws and the commandments, but we look at opportunities that allow us to thrive.
Okay.
There's a difference between surviving and thriving. You know, a lot of people be like, I'm surviving, but that's like a lower state where you're just like, It's a carnal. It's carnal to survive.
Okay.
The thrive
That's what we're trying to get to.
is where we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
So, with opportunity comes information, and I think, like, back to what I was saying earlier, this information is putting us in a place where we're gonna have to either use it or suffer.
Yes. Those are facts. And that's the thing about information. That's what, like, when Frederick Douglass said that, it always stuck with me. Like, he was talking about when he learned to read, and he was like, it made him more angry, or because of the information that he knew. And now he's stuck in this place where he's no longer ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had no choice but to do something about it, be moved to action, because he knows what's up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody that wakes up, you know what I'm saying, which is when you think about, I guess, the revolutionaries, or those who have changed the atmosphere affected the world in a certain type of way, like, they woke up to something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but look at all the scientists that woke up to something and became known for inventions and technologies and things like that, or even ideas.
Facts. That's,
okay? A lot of them went crazy.
Okay.
Me and my cousin my cousin's a mathematician at UMD. He's in his PhD.
You heard that?
Guy, he's a mathematician. We were having this conversation. He was like, a lot of the great inventors and scientists went crazy. They went bonkers.
Yeah.
They lost their mind and started babbling, and so I don't know why he was making that point, but it's like, okay, out of all the black revolutionaries, inventors, social scientists, or whatever, all the black ones, how many of them went crazy and couldn't handle the burden of that knowledge they had?
And all of them are the greatest inventors.
Out of all of them,
none of them. I can't think of one. I'm trying to. That went like off the
rails, like all even the ones that started their own religion.
That's crazy. I never thought about it like that.
The mind we were built for that. The mind we've been given as a people is like. One of y'all was saying something about we are different. Where like we're like. What y'all was saying something.
I probably was saying.
I think it might have to do with something with
is it the melanin?
Facts. There's one with melanin. I would say that's definitely a superiority type.
Yeah, I know he's Dr. Francis. What was it?
Francis Scott. Francis Chris Wilson.
Yeah.
That's definitely because one, they do kill us for that. It's harvested.
Mm-hmm.
It's on
because it's in our organs too, right?
Yes, it's our organs are secreted in.
Secreted in. You mean like
your body secretes melanin all throughout your whole body.
Melanin
is all throughout your body right
it's
now.
Marinating in there.
You know what's crazy? Okay, so I'm gonna be completely, and this is on camera, but this is a part of the new me. Okay. Man, I used to have this. Well, I can't confirm or deny this, but anyway, I had this problem with my toenails. You know what I'm saying? My toenails was a big thing for me. They were discolored. I always had a darker hue to them, and so the doctors never could tell me what it was. Like nobody, and it was like I was the only person. I knew people that had that, but anyway, just doing a Google search, and it was basically like. That is I won't say it's a side effect of melanin, but it's like your body producing melanin, and I was and at first I was like ooh, but then I was like, but why? I still want my feet, Lord.
Listen, you got that God foot, boy.
I got that God foot.
I think I have that. Oh man,
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's a nice spin on it. I'll take this.
I remember one time, like one of my fingernails was like browner than all the other ones, and I was like, "Why is it like that?"
I forgot what it's like. I want to say hyperpigmentation. It's a term. I have it on my phone, but yeah, man, that joke threw me. I was like, man,
Yeah, no, that's serious. That's serious.
Wow.
that's okay. But you were saying, okay, what makes us though? Our our DNA, our
Okay.
makeup, our,
Right now, I was presented with this. Okay, I was presented with this, and it's in Genesis. It's 1:26. Okay, this is where he makes man on a certain day. I think it's either the 6th or the 5th. But then he talks about the 7th day he rested, and then he talks about another man. You see what I'm saying? He formed man of dust, and he goes into the intricacies. And he says, "I breathe life into this vessel," but that wasn't so for this one. You see what I'm saying? And I was also presented with Cain. Cain means adopted. So he wouldn't have been Adam's son. So I was also presented with that. Then I was also presented with Genesis chapter 6 with Noah and the mating of, sons of Elohim, whatever that was, being mating with sons of daughters, the sons of with the daughters of men, and then creating giants. Now, we are around different types of beings on this earth. Things that can't inherit the spirit of the Creator. Things that will never be able to inherit the spirit of the Creator. We have always been amongst them, and they are here. It's like night and day. They live in this realm of us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's not like angelic beings. You see what I'm saying? It's not like, angels and demons. You see what I'm saying? These are actual other races. You see what I'm saying? Okay, such as Anunnaki. That people dwelt with these things. You see what I'm saying? And these things have higher up control, and these things are controlled by other entities, and they work in construct with them. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got your clones. We're getting back to the times of Noah where they were splicing. We're already getting back to that age. He said before the time comes, it has to get worse than Noah. You see what I'm saying? So we're hitting a brink where it's like, okay, the stuff that we can read and research and say, okay, they did do genetic splicing back then in biblical times, and we can say that, okay, it's here now. You see what I'm saying? They're now, a mouse can have babies by itself, self-reproducing mice now, and it's two female, mice are having children. Right? How is this happening, and why technology is going beyond its age now, to the point where now we're getting holograms. Now we might not be able to tell what's real. Now they're trying to advance virtual reality. Now that's coming into a norm itself. So now what's going to become reality for the world, you see what I'm saying? The culture of things, the culture of how we, do things was entertainment. You see what I'm saying? That has all changed and progressed. It's going from, it's gone from their ages being brutal and things of that nature where they did things open and free to, you can fulfill your own fleshly desire, whatever you want to do and be. You see what I'm saying? You have people who will openly worship Satan on earth. You see what I'm saying? Openly worship demons in front of people. These things are, real, and we have to find our way through that. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil.
Facts.
For he is with me. And it's crazy. I was reading the Gospel of Thomas, and it says, where there are three gods, where there are three gods, they are gods.
Where there are three gods.
Where there are three, it says in where there are three deities, they are gods. And it says, and when there is one, I am with him. So it's like individually, when we are alone, you see what I'm saying? Creator's with us solely. He's always going to be with us.
He said when there's three.
And now we're here. We're in the full capacity. I'm here. I can stand in my own correct mind and give you knowledge. You can stand in your own right, correct mind and give me knowledge. Now you can stand in your own right and correct mind and give me knowledge. Now we're moving. He said, where those two touch and agree, they can say move mountain and so. So we need to be getting to. That's where I'm. You know what I'm saying? That's where the power is going to come because now
Yeah.
it's like okay, I'm competent. I'm competent of my being and who I have become.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And we're all been walking that path and trying to figure out who we are as a
Yeah.
man. You feel what
Yeah.
I'm saying? That manhood.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, these are teach my fingers to war. You know, the Creator has given us these, you know, experiences, these, you know, trials and tribulations to fight through. And he said, I chastise those who I love. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like all of these things he's been, you know, bearing us up for something.
Man, that's good, man.
For something.
That's
For
good.
something. It's like,
something
it's
is-
not for naught. It can't be for naught.
You know what? When you okay, I'm gonna like do a tangent real quick. Hey, you know like how Facebook does the Facebook memories. I don't know if you've been on Facebook in a while, or like you know it'll do a Facebook memory, so it'll tell you something that you said like a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I love when it does that because it will show me so like where my mindset was, but it like it's like you drop seeds or you've been dropping seeds or you've been so and it's like. How you it's like a repayment or it's like reserved for a future time so to speak or like so when I hear you say like because my brother will do the same thing he will like I'll be talking to him and we'll have like our conversations go just like this like just you know all over the place and then it always comes back to like something real solid and like we can both chew on for the you know until the next time we talk. And but he'll always be like, man, you know, you used to say, and he was like, you used to say such and such and such and such, and you like, and he'll tell me how that is moved, you know, how he's moved in that, and I'll be thinking, man, I was just, and it will help me move, you know what I'm saying? Like when you like, it's like how we have those,
breadcrumbs that go
yeah, it's like breadcrumbs. It's like, it's helping him, and then he gives it back to me, and it's helping me. When you said that, I'm like, oh, I used. And that felt good. Teach my hands to war. I'm like, yeah, I used that was the what you know how I used to carry the whole thing, man. It's like getting back to that, man. Getting back to those that sort of those like those things like building up, like you were saying, man. Getting all that information, preparing, like this is what I needed. It is, well, 100%. And honestly, like when y'all leave. The conversation is going to be because I'm going to do my follow up. I guess we talked about the expectations, which is one thing which is interesting. It's not that my expectations have I haven't lowered my expectations or anything like that. If anything, my expectations are like I would say higher. But I still have a level of expectations for like how we, you know, when we come in contact, when we talk,
Right.
what my respect, how I expect you to deal with me, and vice versa. What my expectations for like the relationship to get to, you know what I'm saying? Like not just to be here, but like to really develop and stuff like that. But at the same time, coming to a point where
It's organized in some fashion.
well, it's or okay, what my I guess. I don't even know how to get to the root of it. The only way I can put it is, I would say I was really getting into like narcissism. I was not getting into it, but I was doing the research on it. I was doing.
When were you doing the research on that?
I wouldn't say that was my, but all of like last year really jumping into like that whole, the psychology of it, everything.
Like the beginning of last year?
I thought, what was I probably about the beginning of it? Like, man, when did that?
Man,
It probably was because I remember the first thought that I had on it. That I kind of put two and two together, and I just did it. I was like, I wonder if this is associated with narcissism, like something that I was dealing with. And I was like, I wonder, and I just started googling it, and then like all the symptoms. I asked Tina because I remember I told Tina I was like, I think I'm a narcissist.
okay, listen.
I'm telling you, like last year I was like,
Okay.
she was like, I don't think you.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Listen.
listen.
Go ahead.
I was researching the same thing, the same time, and my mind was on the same thought. Because, first of all, I have been in. Okay, I was just getting out of a narcissistic relationship with you know who, Ebony, and it was like narcissistic abuse.
How does that look? What does that look like?
It's
From-
gaslighting. Okay, You ever heard that term before?
I have, but go into it.
Okay, gaslighting is when someone manipulates you to question your own reality. So if it comes from it's a movie term. It was an old 1930s noir movie where the woman was ill, and she was like, you know, in her house all day. So she was like looking at the stove. She had turned the stove on. She had turned the stove off, and she was like, you know, honey, it was like something where she knew she had turned the stove off, but the husband kept making her believe that the stove was still on, or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's where the term gaslighting came from. So someone who does that, it's either it's one of two things. It's either they're doing it on purpose because they've premeditated it, or it's just they're just used to being like that, and they don't really know that they're like that.
Yeah.
And they might not even believe it if you tell them.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, but dang, look how I was with my ex before Ebony. I was really like, sometimes I would like spaz out on her for no reason. And when I looked at it, I was like, dang, was I a narcissist to her? Because like the way because I ghosted her, like, because and the reason why I ghosted her was because I wanted to stop hurting her, and she wasn't trying to let me off easy, but I was like, nah, we should just, you know. And so like when I canceled the engagement and broke it off with Ebony, I tried to go back to her, to the ex, and patch things up with her, but I didn't apologize. Like I didn't like go into the proper. You know what I mean? I just kind of went back like it was all good, and so that was what made me think I was a narcissist. And then she ghosted me. Like,
And how did that make you feel?
It made me feel terrible. Like I was like my heart was like in a blender.
Yeah.
So so I started like this is how it happened. I didn't start researching it. I kept running into articles about it.
Yeah, same here.
So then I started and then so I came across a video that talked about how like if you're researching narcissism and if you're worried that you're a narcissist,
You probably
you're
are.
not a narcissist.
Oh, you're not one. Okay.
You're not, because narcissists don't
Right.
believe
They
that
don't
they
would probably pass over that information.
Yeah, they don't have the empathy. They don't have the sympathy for others' feelings. That was the biggest thing. Like they don't have the ability to
empathize with anyone.
Yeah, because like you can be hurt, and to some level, that was okay. To some level, that was me, but it was a byproduct though. It wasn't me. It was a byproduct. It was like it hurt you before you hurt me, sort of thing. Or it was some real.
But you were also becoming a stoic. You were also studying stoicism.
It was
So I think maybe because stoics.
Well, not even okay. Let's back up. Because the research that if we're gonna go through the whole game, we're gonna go through the whole goddamn thing. It started with that, and then it led to like it's similar to like post-traumatic stress syndrome,
Right.
but it's trauma. It's childhood trauma.
Right.
Okay, if y'all, but I'm gonna just go into it because that's what I trafficked in for some time.
Right.
Okay, so it was what it was. But when I researched it, it allowed me the perspective to give, I guess, the understanding of maybe where my parents were, where the surroundings were. That's why when the sister that did post-traumatic slave syndrome, when you have who was the other somebody else teaching about when you look at Antoine Fisher. And that's what he was talking about with him and the slaves being passed down, and how it affects the family and so on and so forth. So we're dealing with that. I'm dealing with that trying to make that transition from boy to man. So the trauma and all that other stuff from childhood made me interact with others in a certain type of way.
Mhm.
And it was a whole bunch of different factors, but it made me interact with people in a certain type of way, which built up layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers, and layers of false self, shadow, this projection, which wasn't narcissistic, but was more so like so fragile that I could.
Mechanism.
Yeah, it was a defense. It was like a protection against what was like so fragile. I didn't. So it was like I'm either aggressive or I'm a cold person, or it seemed like I didn't have feelings for you, or it's just like that sort of. It was a defense mechanism, like you said. So when I said in 2019 or 2019, it was a breaking point where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I had been trying to scale that, slowly, like peel those back to really get to what is really being, trying to be protected. Like what is really so afraid of the world? What is really so afraid of connecting with people? And what I got to was, well, I guess the humanality of the carnal side of us, the flesh side of us, the fact that we are all what I want to believe, and if nobody, I know, to me that's my truth, is that the fact that we're trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That we're trying to figure out, and I look at another man or another woman as somebody that we're on this, we're here together. This is us. You know what I'm saying? Let's figure it out. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me in that sense. We all have our gifts and talents. We all been given, certain things. We have to use it to our best abilities. I would always ask the most, like, you haven't given me nothing. You know what I'm saying? All these conversations like Job would have, and he's like, I've given you everything, dominion over the world. What you mean? I've created the solar system. I gave you time. You know what I'm saying? Everything. I gave you everything that you need. What more do you need? You got hands. You can see, feet. You can move. You can think, you can create. What else do you need? So I was like, you're right. So it left me with no one to blame. Couldn't blame my mama, daddy. Couldn't blame grandmama and them. Couldn't blame. I had to stand on my own 2 feet, figure it out. I had to stop blaming people, take responsibility for the shit I put myself into. Regardless of whatever my mindset was, it was my mindset. I fully allowed it, fully embraced it, and that's how I operated in my life. So I have to take responsibility for my life, where I'm at today, and that's the place that I'm sitting in today. So yeah, I mean, I feel like the term, like when they went in, like the psychology behind narcissism is like, it's limited. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't, like we were talking about with medicine, with anything, they pinpoint this and say, oh, it's this. This is what it is. This is the category in it. When it's like a myriad of things. You know what I'm saying? It's a combination of so much stuff.
Yeah, it's not even a scientifically verified
Right, diagnosis or anything.
Yeah. To your point, real quick, my brother gave me a quote. He said it's an old Chinese proverb. He said, "He who blames others is off the path. He who blames himself is on the way. He who blames no one has arrived." That's probably gonna stick with me forever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know where he got that from, but I think we are departing from being on the way to I think we're in between being on the way to arriving. But when you arrive, it doesn't stop there.
Right.
There's another path to get on to. You might rest for a while in that space, but you don't plateau out. There's another mountain to climb.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
that's a good one.
It's like even when you reach a certain status, you see what I'm saying? In anything, now you learn how to operate in that proper capacity.
you go from boy to man to father to grandfather to.
It's different. When you said that, it made me think of just how the Most High leading, constantly like pulling you more and more, and like expanding you. Every time I get into a place where I'm like confined or feel constricted or feel like stress or whatever, I know that that's a place where I'm about to grow. You know what I'm saying? At some level, it hurts. It's painful. Like I really will be in here in like in intense agony.
Mm-hmm.
Not. And what is it? External things. It's frustration with the situation. It's frustration with let's just be real, like, you know, being here on earth, you know, being in this system, being, you know what I'm saying, confounded to this, it's like constantly making mistakes or constantly like not knowing which way to go or finding you burdened with all this stuff. It's like
The mistakes aren't even the problem. It's the construct that causes you to make a bad decision based on what you've been given within that construct.
right.
The complications are there to become stumbling blocks. So you know, like as human beings, we're always going to make a mistake, but it's quadrupled because of the system.
Right.
But see, now this is why I was